Hello. Hello, this is Greg. Welcome to Stranded Sailors Wines. Looky here, beautiful bowl full of raspberries and blackberries. 10 pounds raspberries and blackberries. Today we're going to be using frozen blackberries and raspberries. Everything's I've pre-prepared as much as I possibly can. Some of the things you're going to need today will be measuring cups, a couple spoons, mesh bag, a big rubber band, hydrometer, your cylinder, turkey baster, your cap, potato masher, a big carboy. This is a 5-gallon carboy, but we're going to be making a 3-gallon batch. There's star sand in the sprayer. Star Stand is a restaurant grade sanitizer. Since I've already introduced that, we're going to set it out of the way. Now for the recipe, right here is the recipe. We're going to be using 3 teaspoons of yeast nutrient, 3 teaspoons of acid blend, 3 teaspoons of pectic enzyme, and 3 Camden tablets, which I've already mixed up in the measuring cup. And then tomorrow we'll be adding the yeast, which will be Premier Cote de Blanc. Now since I've introduced all this stuff, I'm going to set it out of the way. Like I said, I've mixed up as much stuff as I can. And I've already dissolved 13.5 cups of sugar. Like I said, I've tried to get as much stuff done to start with to make this as quick as possible so that the foam don't run out. I've got my bong and airlock sitting in a cup full of star sand right there so that it'll be sanitized to start with. So let's get started. Let me get the phone turned around here and get set up. And I hope I've got that set to where it'll pick up the best. I hope everybody's doing good today. Thank you for tuning in to Stranded Sailors. I'm going to take my cup full of ingredients and I'm going to add it into the carboy. I'm going to wrench out my measuring cup to make sure I get all the ingredients into the Now I'm going to set the measuring cup out of the way. Now I'm going to take my potato masher and we're going to mash up these raspberries and blackberries. We're using 10 pounds of blackberries and raspberries today. Now I'm using frozen blackberries and raspberries. You have to check and make sure that sometimes they don't actually come in a 16-ounce bag, so you'll have to add together and make sure that you get exactly however many pounds you need, because sometimes it's a 12-ounce bag instead of a 16-ounce bag. So you'll have to calculate and make sure that you get the right amount for what you need. Now we're making a 3-gallon batch today. And this stuff was frozen. I've had it sitting in the refrigerator for 24 hours to thaw out. Now I'm just taking my potato masher, mashing everything up here good. This really, really smells wonderful. I wish you could smell it. But it smells wonderful. And as you pour your bags out, you might want to take just a little bit of hot water and rinse the bags out to make sure you get all the berries and all the juice out of the bags. So a little bit of water added to the mixture won't hurt nothing. Just you want to make sure you get all the juice and all the berries out of the bags. And the recipe calls for the addition of water, so it's not going to hurt one thing. Now I've already mixed up my sugar. You don't want to boil the sugar, but you want to get it hot enough that it will dissolve everything. I've already dissolved the 13.5 cups of sugar. I've got it sitting over to the side cooling to come down to room temperature because I'm using a plastic carboy. You don't want to put it into the carboy too hot because it could damage the carboy. And I'm almost got everything mashed up here. All right, I think that looks wonderful. I was really impressed with the size of these blackberries. Some of them are like 1.5 inches long and almost as big around as a quarter. I think that'll do it. Now I'm going to take my mesh bag. This is a medium mesh bag. I'm going to put it down inside. And I use a very thick, big rubber band. To hold the mesh bag on to the top. Because if you don't, once you start putting weight in here, the mesh bag will just fall down to the bottom and you won't get a quarter of this stuff into the bag. Now everything's been sanitized with Star San. But I've been using this spoon over here stirring my sugar. I'm going to take this spoon and I'm going to start spooning everything into my mesh bag. This smells wonderful. And it should make a wonderful, wonderful wine. I've been drinking some Oak Leaf Red Label wine, and it's a Blackberry Raspberry Wine, so I really like the raspberry blackberry. You just want to spoon it into the mesh bag. The mesh bag's to keep all the pulps and your fine particles from getting into the wine. And the 3 Camden tablets, the 3 Camden tablets break down the natural yeast in the fruits. So for the first 24 hours, you want to wait and let the Camden tablets break down those natural yeast before you add the yeast into the mixture. So basically, the Camden tablets breaks down the natural yeast and kind of sanitizes your mixture before you add the yeast for fermentation. I'm kind of making a mess here, but sometimes that's how it goes. Sometimes that's how it goes. If you could smell this though, this just smells wonderful. As you get closer to the bottom, you can turn it up. Oh, looky here, I can actually pour it in. Uh-oh, I better watch out, my bag is going to fall down inside. That worked out pretty smoothly. I got that stuff everywhere. Take a little bit of hot water and rinse out your pot. You're going to make sure you get all your juices. The first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull my rubber band off. I got it all over me. Try to get the top together. And I like to twist it together like this. Where I can tie it into a knot. That way all the pulps will stay into the bag and not leach out into the wine, because you want to keep all them fine particles out of your wine. Now I've got blackberry juice all over my glasses, so I'm going to have to grab a paper towel. Sorry about that. Okay, back to it. You'll take a little bit of water, rinse out your pot. Make sure you get all the juices, as much juice as you can. I'm going to set my pot out of the way. Let me grab a couple more paper towels. Wipe down the outside of this carboy because I seem to have got it. I got almost as much outside the carboy as I got in it. Okay, now we can bring our sugar syrup mixture, and we're going to pour it directly over the bag. Like I said, this is 13.5 cups of sugar. And you want to heat this sugar mixture to the point that it turns clear, but you don't want to actually boil it. But you want to heat it to the point that it turns clear and dissolves everything. I'm going to use some hot water. Make sure I get as much of the sugar out of this pot as I can. Now here's my 3-gallon line. We can go a little bit above the 3-gallon line. because the pulp bag, once you remove the pulp bag, it's going to drop about a half gallon or more. We can go about that much more. I'm going to add to about 3.5 gallons. Add a little bit more. I'd say it's about 3.5 gallons. Okay, now let me set my recipe book out of the way. Let's test this. Take the bag, shake it up and down a few times. Make sure we got all the sugar and everything mixed up. And I'm going to take the turkey baster. We're going to fill up the cylinder. And we're going to test it and see what we've got. A little bit more in there. That's probably enough. Set this back in the saucepan. Now I'll take out my hydrometer. Take the hydrometer out of its sleeve. I'm going to take Star Sand and clean the hydrometer. And I'm going to rinse it off. Then we'll float it and let's see what we got. Oh, look at there. 1.100. And that's about, what is that? .100, that's 10, 11, 12, 13% alcohol. 10, 11, 12, 13. Just over 13% alcohol per gallon.